this video, we are discussing about the Power BI part of our Google Play Store analysis. We are using the same business problem as we use in our SQL part. So let's start our Power BI part. I'm using get data and then text.csv, and then firstly I'm loading my Google Play Store file and then load it, and then it's taking a little bit time to load. Now I'm using get data text.csv and opening over another file. This time I go to transform data, and now we are changing in the Google Play Store user review. As you can see, we have column 1, column 2 on the end. I'm just changing use first row as header, and now I'm seeing the data types of all the columns in our data and change the data type which are required. Now you can see in sentiment polarity, I'm changing its data type into decimal numbers, and the numbers which are not decimal number, they are like English alphabets, it's become error. But now I'm removing the NaN values because we did not define what is NaN in these values. So I'm removing this NaN into this column, and now I'm seeing the data types of Google Play Store analysis table and changing the data type which are required. Size has data type of text. This is because it has digit and also alphabet M, which is representing million. So we remain it into a text. We do not change its data type. While all the other columns have good to go data types, we did not need to change something in it. Now I'm removing NaN values that is in our data set. As you can see in the category, we have 1.9, which is not a definable category. It might be some error in our data, so I'm just removing this 1.n on category tab, and now you can see in rating we have NaN values. I'm just removing this NaN values in our data because if we keep remain this NaN values, then it is difficult for us to in our visualization. And now you can see the other columns did not have some unusual or like NaN values, so I'm just loading my data. Now I'm going to format tab and changing the background color of canvas by setting transparency into 30. It is not that important step, you just keep doing the step because I wanted to make my visuals better. Now I'm giving the name, you might be say a title of our dashboard, Google Play Store analysis. I'm setting its font size into 28 and making it underline and in the center. Now we have to provide the overview of dataset by counting the total unique apps and total unique categories in our data. So I'm clicking on my table and then new here. And I'm now wanted to get the total unique apps in our data. So I'm setting its name into total apps and then count rows. And then distinct, and then over app's name, column name. So like Google Play Store app, and then press OK. We have now a new layer in which we define the total apps in our unique apps in our data. Now I'm clicking on my table name and then new layer. This time I'm defining the total categories in our total unique categories in our data. So I'm setting a name into total categories and then count rows, the same function we use for total apps, and then disconnect, and then our Google Play Store table name and then category, and then I'm pressing OK. Now I'm representing these visual into the form of visual cards. In the separate visual cards, I'm using new visual card. You either can use a visual card which is the old one. I'm making these value size into 30, and now I'm just copy pasting because I did not want it to change the value size and their size again. So I'm just copy pasting and just changing total categories into total apps. Now we have to find explore app categories. In this I'm choosing category and then app. I'm setting category into x-axis and count of app into y-axis, and I'm choosing the filter of top 10 because we have 33 categories. There is a lot much more data, so I'm just making the filter of top 10 and setting by value into count of category. And now we have to find top rated free apps. For this time I wanted to see the apps, and in terms of top rated I'm choosing rating and reviews because these both are the most important factors to define some apps as to be a top rated. So I'm choosing X app into x-axis and sum of rating into y-axis, and line y-axis I'm choosing sum of reviews. Now I'm filtering my data into top 10 apps. You should have to use in count of app instead of a first app by value in the filter. I also wanted to choose category into x-axis. I think so our data looks good without category. So now I have to define most review apps, like apps with a high number of reviews. So I'm choosing apps and then reviews, and I'm choosing cluster column chart. I'm choosing maximum of reviews because we have to find the apps that have highest number of reviews. So I'm choosing maximum, and I'm using the filter of top 10 apps by going to apps and then top filter and then top 10 and dragging my app feed app column into by value and then setting into count of app. And this is our visual. Now we have to find average rating by category. Like what is average rating for each category? For this visual I'm choosing category and then rating, but I represented my data in the form of column chart. I'm setting x-axis category and in y-axis average of rating, and we either use a filter of top 10 categories or we remain it by using all the categories. We can define it later by either we have to choose all the categories using top 10 filter because we do not want it to make a lot of rush into our dataset, into our dashboard. I'm removing the total in this table I'm choosing table instead of any other thing because you can see the table is better representation of our data because our values are too close. Like first value is 4.44 and second is 4.39, so it better represent the form of table. Now I have to define top categories by number of installs. So I'm choosing category and then installs. I am choosing line chart this time, and I'm choosing top and filter and then top 10 categories and dragging category field into by value and then setting into count and then apply filter. Here you can see that I'm choosing category into x-axis and the y-axis I have sum of installs. Now we have to find average sentiment polarity by app category, like which category has average sentiment polarity. For this time, because we have to connect, we have used a one column table and then other column table, so I'm connecting both of these visuals, although there are different kind of apps in over both of the table, but it is better to connect these data with many to many, and then we're good to go, because this is the only way that we connect these two tables. Although the apps are the column that have been primary key in both of the tables, but if you can see, their name is much more different in the app. So I'm choosing app sentiment polarity from Google Play Store user review, and then category from Google Play Store app. I'm using top 10 filter of top 10 and then placing my category column and then setting into count of category and then apply filter. And I'm using category into x-axis and average of sentiment polarity into y-axis. And I representing my data into form of line chart. Now we have to make a visual of sentiment reviews by category. So I am choosing sentiment from Google Play Store reviews data and category from Google Play Store, and I'm putting in the form of donut chart, and I'm putting category into count of values and legend into sentiment. And now when you look into data of second of third visual top rated free apps, so we have to filter our data into free apps, but as you know, in the our second visuals we already put a one filter, so we have only limit of putting one filter into third visual, so we do not put the free apps into our second visual. So I'm making the filter visual for our free app and then filtering out the whole data that is on our dashboard by using type either by free or a paid. This is the only way to represent our data in the form of a top rated free apps. So now when you click on the free, and then all the data in the dashboard can be represented the free apps data, and when you click on the paid app, then all data represent the paid apps in our data. Now I'm just rearranging and changing the size of our visual just for better representation. I am grouping the same type of visual, like the data that represent the visuals that represent the same data. I'm grouping them. As you can see on the right hand side, I'm firstly putting the donut chart of count of category by sentiment, and then in the bottom I'm putting average of sentiment polarity by category. And the same way I'm wanted to represent my data by the same type of data. I just wanted to see if we put this table into upper visual, it is okay, or we have to rearrange it. I don't want you to make a lot of rush into my dashboard. That was I'm using filter of top 10 category and then put category into by value and then setting into count of category and then apply filter in the table of average operating by category. And I think this table is good in the bottom left corner. And I'm rearranging the other visuals in my dashboard. Now I'm making a little bit change into name of x-axis and y-axis. I'm just using app by category instead of count of app, and in the second visual I'm choosing rating and removing the sum of, and same is for reviews. I'm keeping reviews and removing sum of. In our donut chart I'm also keeping the category and removing this count of. And in this average of sentiment polarity I'm choosing this, removing this average of and just keeping the sentiment polarity. Then I'm removing max off and just keeping the reviews, and just removing the sum of. And now our title of our dashboard is change. Now I'm going to my view tab and I'm changing the color of my dashboard. I think this is the good color for my dashboard. Accessible city park. If you wanted to change this color into some other color, you can do that. And now I'm going to journal. I'm going to format and then journal, and then opening the visual border and setting to color into white and setting it rounded corner into 20, and also opening shadow on and making it into outside, making it position into bottom left. And the same things I have done for my another visual. I'm making the visual border on and setting its corner into 20 and changing its color into white and opening the shadow and taking it into bottom left. And now I'm just clicking on one visual that is good, and I wanted to format my other users, so I'm using format painter. As you can see that it is a little bit complex to understand format painter, but it's not that much more difficult. When you practice by your own, you can do that. You just simply have to click on the visual that is in a better formatting that you wanted the other visual should be formatted in this format. So you have to click on this visual and then click on format painter and then click on the other visual which you wanted that this visual should be in this format of the previous visual. This table we cannot apply this formatting to our table, so I'm doing it manually. And I am going to my visual card, and then in the cards I'm removing this fill and border. I'm making it fill and border into off. Now the box in our visual card is not representing. Now I'm going to my insert tab and then into images, and then I'm selecting the image that I wanted to represent in my data and making it a little bit small. I'm selecting these images by using Canva. You can either use some other free resources that you have available and you think that your data is better represented in with these visuals. These visuals are not the compulsory thing that we have to do in our dashboard, but it is just good for the representation. Now all the things on our dashboard has been done. There's one more thing that we should have to add. I'm going into my table and then going into format tab in the visual and then opening the grid, and also in the values section, and background color is setting into green. Now that's it. This is all the over Power BI dashboard for the Google Play Store analysis. We wanted to have a more dashboards and more SQL queries projects, then stay tuned with us.